All right, it's district breakdown time. We have moved on to 4-5A, Division II. And guess what, Diggsy? Parker Polk is not playing football anymore. This is a miracle. He played 9.5 years for Grapevine, and he's finally graduated. So does that leave an opening there for other teams? Or are we still looking at Grapevine, Colleyville Heritage, and heck, Arlington Heights had a heck of a year last year as well.
Finally graduated. We've been talking about him since 2010. I feel like he got a bobblehead in 2010, and in 2020 and 2023, we finally sent him out the door. Grapevine's got a new kind of a Parker Polk. He's a lineman, but Hunter Cottle, I think he's going to be a name that we're going to be talking about for a while. Got some good time as a freshman, and I think he's going to be that next 4-year gap in 2026. We're going to be talking about him really kind of spearheading the line. But I think one thing that we have to kind of talk about as kind of the lead story in District 4-5A has been kind of the coaching turnover that has happened, not at only Grapevine and Colleyville Heritage. There was a little bit of a viral post that was happening in the off season, which kind of highlighted Grapevine and Colleyville Heritage's zones, and where you go to, where you live and where you go to school. And it was one of the most awkward things I've ever seen. People talk about the Plano system being weird with, the 9-10s and the 10-11s or the 11-12s and how that split up. But the Grapevine, it looks like some sort of weird kind of a Tetris, that little Tetris piece that you can stick in anywhere, kind of that 2x2 thing, and not the square one. That's kind of what the Grapevine Colleyville Heritage zoning looks like. And the fact that both coaches left, I think kind of highlights to me that maybe the talent has dropped off a little bit in this area as well. So I think there is going to be opportunity. Obviously, there's going to be some players in the system, but both Colleyville Heritage and Grapevine graduated a lot of their offensive. Probably 90% of the stats that were gone last year have left. So who will step up and how will they answer? But even though I'm not going to pick them to win the district, I think I am most excited about Fort Worth Wyatt this year. Last year we talked about was Colleyville Heritage and Grapevine and everybody else, and then Arlington Heights came in there and completely reframed the narrative as they got a win in that, playing those top two teams. I think it's going to be Fort Worth Wyatt this year. Cade Barrett, a quarterback, returns, and Jaforski Lane Jr. I think he's going to be a player like Parker Polk we talked about. He got some time as a freshman. D'Artagnan Crawford, wide receiver Ashton Larkin coming back as a running back. I got a chance to see Wyatt last year, and they were a little bit undisciplined, but they were very, very talented. And all those players who were those players that caught my eye are all coming back this year.
That experience helps, especially in a district like that. I don't know how their schedule plays out, but maybe they can get some confidence going over against some of these other Fort Worth teams before they take on a Colleyville or a Arlington Heights or a Grapevine.
Yeah, and the way the schedule works, I think it was the Northside Wyatt game last year. You ignored me for that. I think you went over to go see North Crowley or somebody and Lovejoy instead of coming to watch Fort Worth Wyatt with me. Obviously, with Grapevine and Colleyville Heritage, they've got to be considered the 1-2 and really kind of breaking down who's coming back. I've got Grapevine just a little bit above Colleyville Heritage, and again, it's very close. As far as that goes, they got Harrison Hackbarth as a really good quarterback. I think we haven't really heard of him yet, but I think he has a chance to be really talented. But we talked about Hunter Caudell. Brady Wagner comes back to kind of give a little bit of offensive consistency as a fullback. Devin Thomas is a really good defensive tackle. Even though Coach Alexander left and went to your arch enemy over there at Marcus, I think Grapevine has enough coming back to where you have to look at things and go, okay, I think that they might be considered the district favorite. Colleyville Heritage, I know one of your favorite teams, Harker Heights. Jerry Edwards came in from that Harker Heights team. They've got some really talented receivers coming back. The question is going to be who's going to give them the ball. Braden Blewett and Luke Ulrich are returning wide receivers, and according to their huddle, this could be breaking news, and I haven't confirmed it yet because Coach Edwards is getting in there and putting his infrastructure in. I think Luke Ulrich might end up a quarterback this year. He's changed his huddle from wide receiver to quarterback, and Riley Wormley was a really good running back, and he'll be back this year. So I think Colleyville Heritage has some offensive production that they're going to have coming back. The question will be the defense, and that Coach Edwards knows how to coach defense. So that might be fun to watch this year on their up and comings.
Well, they do have the Bryson Burgess there, safety, unanimous selection as the as a first team all district. Another guy that really caught my eye from Arlington Heights is the Kanan James. I mean, it's hard for a freshman to be unanimous, all district first team. I don't know if that says anything about the district or just says how, I mean, as a freshman, it tells you that I don't care what kind of district you're playing in. If you're a unanimous all first team all district, you got something going on there. So is that what's going to help lead this Arlington Heights team now that Furch is gone?
Unfortunately, and I think we saw this in Naaman Forest last year with Marcus Deal. You can have a really, really good defensive end, and it's not really going to help you on the field very much. I mean, yeah, it's a nice player to have. In moments, big plays can be disruptive, but whereas a quarterback has the ball 50, 60 times a game and can make plays, defensive ends, you can do some things to scheme and kind of protect against them. How do you replace Brian Furch? You can't. And I haven't seen anybody who really can. They do have their quarterback coming back, Eric Orozco. And that Kanan James kid that you talked about as part of our research for this, I watched some of his huddle highlights, and he's almost got 10,000 views. I mean, this kid is a man beast. He's one of those fun kids. Almost gives me Jackson Jeffcoat vibes, the defensive end, when he started playing at West as a freshman. I kind of see that. I mean, I think he's going to be a highly recruited player, and I know nothing about recruiting. So at the end of the day, if he doesn't go to Alabama, you can, I'm not that person to assess that. But just I got those vibes, that he's that kind of special player. Tymir Bisco is a really good wide receiver. So they got a quarterback coming back. They got a receiver. But that whole team last year reverted around Brian Furch, and losing him, who's going to be that special player to tote the ball, for 200 yards, 30, 40 times a game. I don't know if Arlington Heights is going to have that. They might have to become more multiple in their offense. I think, given everything you said last year and the excitement, they're still kind of a favorite to make the playoffs over at Fort Worth Northside. But I'm going to be very curious to see how they replace that offensive production. But at the same time, if it's fourth down and you've got a rusher like Kanan James coming, he can make plays in big situations, and that could be something as an X factor in the fourth quarter of big games.
Sounds like you've kind of hinted around who you think your four playoff teams is, but talk about the rest of the Fort Worth ISD, and is there a team there that could push for number 4?
Obviously, Fort Worth Northside has been that team the last couple of years. Coach Joseph Turner has done great things over at that program, and he really has the highs and lows of having some really good talent, but also having to mix in a lack of depth in there. Trustin Holland was a really outstanding cornerback last year. I think you might see him at receiver, just doing whatever they can to get some talent on both sides of the ball. But Northside, after that run that you got to see and cover, they've really been thin on the talent. And I think that the coaching has put them at that next level, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get it to that next level. Fort Worth Southwest has been the team that we've kept an eye on over the last couple of years. They've had a lot of talent, and that part of Fort Worth generates a lot of talent with Everman, and Joshua's even getting to be a kind of a talent base, and we'll talk about them next week. Fort Worth Poly and Fort Worth Trimble Tech, I think, are going to be the bottom of the district. Jorge Ruiz for Fort Worth Poly is a player to watch, and Nick Martinez, a very talented player for Fort Worth Trimble Tech, but I think they're going to be at the bottom of the district. Ultimately, it's going to be Southwest, Northside, and Arlington Heights competing for that last playoff spot. Given Fort Worth Wyatt, I think is a neck above all of them right now as the best Fort Worth ISD team. But I think Southwest and Northside can definitely be competitive with them and make things different, especially if transfers or a lack of talent or anything impacts the depth of any of those teams. It could completely change things at the flip of a coin.
Well, let me hear your 1 through 8, and then we'll close it out on 4, 5, 8.
As much as I hate to say it, I got Grapevine 1 and Colleyville Heritage 2. I say I hate because I'm cheering for Fort Worth Wyatt. I hope O.D. Wyatt can win this district. I'd love to see it. I love seeing new things, but I've got O.D. Wyatt 3, Arlington Heights 4, Northside 5, Southwest 6, Fort Worth Poly 7, and Trimble Tech 8 to round out this district.
Amen.